Hi guys, Mr. Jaeger here, and welcome back to the second day of Invictus launch week. So, apologies for the first episode taking forever. That one was more of I was there and I was able to record it, and the game had multiple points where it was crashing. So, fun times. But yes, Starter Citizen is in a bit of a interesting state, shall I say, but still interesting, he says. Regardless, though, we're in. It's the second day, and I'm eager to record this one because I'm actually quite excited. So yesterday we had the Origin Jumpworks and RSI grace our presence with their presence. Yes, English grammata. I know it so well. So today we instead, however, are going to be going into what this week is actually about: the Daka ships. And as you can see on the floor below me, we've got. Can I zoom out? Or should I just reverse backwards? Anvil Aerospace. Donk. Yes, Anvil motherfucking Aerospace. Actually, maybe I should do it more like... Can I zoom out even further? Yes, I can. And I can kind of almost head character. There we go. Boom. That is a thumbnail. Yes, Anvil Aerospace with a... Very, very good-looking ships are being displayed today. So today we're going to be having one of our little quick looks, like we did at CitizenCon, and hopefully this will not take us a huge amount of time. I'm going to try and curtail a few things from the ships that we've already seen. So we've already seen my character. No, I don't want to rent it. So we've already seen this beauty, which is, of course, the C8 Pisces, a fairly good ship, very useful, and is custom-made for the Carrack, which we've seen in ye old background. I don't think we've actually got an internal look on this channel before, so we will be visiting her. The F7A Hornet, which is... for some reason, it's not highlighting, so I'm going to go on a limb here and say this is the Super Hornet, but I believe I could be also wrong. I don't believe it is, because the Super Hornet isn't it mostly white? I don't know, my Hornet knowledge is not perfect. I've used a few of them, but I've not had them much. Regardless, though, this is a pretty dope-looking Hornet. It's got a slave turret system to it, so that might be the Super Hornet. Though the Super Hornet has 2 crew compartments, but maybe this is a slave edition. I'll have to go back to the research board on this one, but this does look like a pretty damn good Hornet. You've got some good size 1s on the front, repeaters, some size 2 Gatling guns, and if I'm not mistaken, those are also some decent size 2 or 3 repeaters. But of course, while she looks impressive, and I cannot lie, she has a pretty decent design style. It's, this is the F8 Lightning. This is the ship that many people were convinced was not available to rent or sell. And in fact, I think what I do have some footage when I was rolling through with my very good friend, Mr. Nimbus, with us being able to get into the vessel. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I can get in. Hello, I can get into the Hornet. Sorry, the Lightning, Anvil Lightning. Vehicle name, Lightning. Can I actually turn on anything? Oh, I can. Unfortunately, sadly, we can't seem to do anything else, so unfortunately, I'm going to actually have to have the light on. Let's see if I can get back in or out. But yes, the Anvil F8 Lightning is probably one of the more modern aircrafts to grace our presence in the verse. There we go, it's a little bit better. So, I can look around at least. So yes, look at this absolute beautiful ship. Okay, so the game's like, no, you can't look at it. It's not fair. But no, this is an absolutely beautiful ship. I'm a little worried now that they live there. It's a little bugged out, but still. This is an absolute beauty of a ship. She's got two size 3s, 2 size 2s. And I believe that's a size 3 again. No, sorry, size 2. Yes, size 2. I am terrible at recognizing size 2 guns. I really am. It's irritating. But when you look at it for a few seconds, it always is confusing to me. It's one of those things. One of these days, as soon as I get it, the game's actually going to be released, because that's when I'll fucking know about it. Anyway, regardless. So this vessel has got a shitload of blasters and repeaters. No, it does not look like there's any ballistic weaponry. So that could be a problem. But then again, the power core component looks fine and dandy and glorious. You've got also some size... Is that a... That's a turret, isn't it? Yes. So we've got some size 3 slave turret on the back, and you've got some gloriously looking size... I'm going to go size 3 missiles as well. 4 size 3 missiles in what I'm going to call rocket pods. They're not really rocket pods, but you know what I mean. They're in the sort of their own pod sort of style. So yes, this thing is a heavy dogfighter, and I imagine when we are eventually allowed to get one of these things, it'll be fucking glorious. I love this vessel. Like, yeah, this vessel looks absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to get one. Apparently, the rumor goes that this vessel will become more available to you if you've already completed Squadron 42, that you'll basically be able to establish some contacts within the military who can then sort of go on the sly and help you buy this ship. So very, very nice, very, very exciting. So we're going to go from the right to the left, and again, we're not going to go too intensive this time because obviously we've already been in a majority of these vessels. So this, of course, is the Valkyrie, the Anvil Valkyrie, with its lovely multiple turrets, multiple remote-controlled turrets as well, which you can access from the upper sections. I've been on this vessel, hell, I was on this vessel yesterday trying with my clan to get on one of the planets, and it is a very, very good ship. Hang on, I don't want to rent it, no. As ground transportation, it is an extremely good ship to utilize. You've got enough room to transport up to 20 guys, plus a couple of the Cyclones or a couple of Ursas. So as a clan vehicle, I think it's absolutely beautiful and it works to a T. Like, if this is probably one of the more... If you're going to get into working with a clan and you like the concept of dropping people off in the firing line, this is definitely your vessel. It is a very, very good vessel, and I have to admit, I do like the aesthetics. It does look extremely pleasing. Going on from that, we have, of course, the Anvil and Arrow, which is... Well, obviously, she's the most nimble fighter I have seen that Anvil have created. Size 2 machine guns on the side, undercarriage, and some size 1s on ballistic blaster repeaters on the top. She's got a few size 3 missiles with some size 2... size 3s or size 2s? I'm thinking size 2s. They look fat. But that one's even fatter, so I'm going to go size 2s and size 3s. So... Yes, very, very lovely. Extremely maneuverable. I took her out for a flight in the CitizenCon, and my god, she was maneuverable. Unfortunately, though, she is as vulnerable as ever. Like, completely. One flick of a laser, and her ass is grass. So it's unfortunate. But regardless, if you do like the concept of being a nimble fighter, and you have more than 40 frames, then this thing is absolutely for you, and I wish I could use her in the ways that a fighter pilot could use her. Unfortunately, all I can use her for is just mobile target practice for the enemy. It's extremely sad. So this is, well, this is a ship that needs no name, of course. This is the Anvil Aero Hornet C, or Civilian Edition, if I'm not mistaken. Not as many armaments. There is no massive slave turret on the top. However, I think you can purchase one in the future, and it would be quite nice. You can attach a few other things, but again, she's not that well armed. You can see there's only the size 2 Gatling guns on the side, which I believe are fixed, so sadly, no gimbal assist for you. I mean, as I said, the F7 series, the Hornet series is a pretty good staple. Like, if you had to talk to me about what aircraft I would say in Star Citizen is as sort of a standard... Oh, look, someone's car alarm's going off. Oh, and they've sorted it. That's nice. Bloody good car alarm if you can hear it from down here. Jeez. But yeah, so the Hornet series I've always found to be a good staple ship. Like, if you wanted a benchmark to work off, then this is probably your best bet, though I imagine some people would disagree. We'll get to you, beautiful, later. Anyway, so going on, we're going to have a look at the Hurricane. So if you may recall, I did have a major curiosity hard-on for this thing, and I satisfied it quite indubitably. I took it out for a spin, and I will not lie, And a friend of mine actually bought this thing recently, my very good friend Mr. Nimbus, who finds this vessel to be quite attractive. I do agree, it is an incredibly good-looking ship. Hate the paintwork, but I love everything else about it. With the other point, though, well, I say I love everything about it. Retract the statement. Aesthetically, I love the looks. But practically, it is a bit of a problem for two reasons. First of all, the stock guns that you get on these things, these are known as the scatter guns, they're not that effective when it comes to most forms of space combat. Like, I know the concept of a shotgun in space does sound cool, but on paper, and in paperwork, sure, it may have some practical applications, but depending on the style of combat that you want to go with this vessel, which really this thing kind of feels more like a medium to long range kind of vessel, which, by the way, if you guys would like to have a commentary about that, feel free to put it in the comments down below. I'm very curious if you guys are more experienced on that. But this thing seems like a more medium to long range vessel, so basically my mate, Mr. Nimbus, he removed the scatterguns and put on the two Gatlings, and it was infinitesimally more effective. Now, of course, the other issue is that, well, regardless of the fact that he could put it in, his machine guns in, he still couldn't use the quad 50s. So these size 3 autocannons, which are incredible, do not get me wrong, they contribute the most form of damage that this vessel will have, which means in order for the Hurricane to be effective at this moment in time, you will need yourself and a person to work with. Now, that could be an issue because, obviously, who wants to just be stuck in the back of a Hurricane when they could also be flying around doing whatever? So it's a very pretentious issue, but hopefully one day we can incorporate some slave turreting systems into this vessel to be able to make these quad 50s go roaring into the distance, because I seriously I love the concept of a Hurricane with quad 50s going off. Now, I know that those aren't technically called quad 50s, but in my eye, all that looks like is a quad 50 from the World War II AAA defensive position. Oh. Anyway, before we go on to... Actually, no, let's continue on with this. So let's... we'll round up with a vehicle... Before we go into the Carrack, we'll be rounding off with the other vehicles. So this vehicle, of course, is the Anvil Hawk, the bounty hunter's best friend when you're starting off. It has two seats to go into. Hello, sir. You'll be seeing one of these very soon, Mr. Bandit. And you'll not be in the pilot's seat. So, the Anvil Hawk has some pretty damn good weapons, and I took her for a spin. She is great when it comes to certain forms of combat, but she is a slow, unmaneuverable... Well, she's fast in a straight line, but she is a fat bastard, and she can't really turn that effectively. But I'm sure if you can get some propulsion upgrades, as well as changing some of the other stuff, she can work for yourself quite well. Again, she's not a bad fighter. I really did like her. But there was something I got introduced to at this event, which I have actually even purchased, which I have fallen completely in love with. But still, the Anvil Hawk is pretty good, so obviously there's the pilot seat, and for those who are wondering, well, where does the bounty target go? The bounty target is up the poop chute at the back of the ship. If you wish to, you can even get it in it yourself to inspect the poop chute up in the exterior. There it be. As I said, that's what I call the poop chute, because, rather to start, I just kind of thought, I call it the poop scoot, when really you're putting poop in the scoop. So maybe I just, well, you could say the poop is the bandit, so you could be like a responsible dog owner and basically scooping that shit up, but it's kind of hard to explain that in chord, so we'll just close the poop chute and just be on with it. Anyway, going on to the Terrapin. Now, for those who don't know, the Terrapin is actually considered an explorer. If you've watched videos like Lore of the West, so content creators like Lore of the West who make fantastic comparison videos, he was talking about this version of this ship versus the Origin. I want to say 325 series. Like, in comparison to in comparison to the I believe it was an Origin 325. I have to rewatch the video now. But no, the Origin jump works versus this, which this vessel is designed for two people, one person to be on and one person to be off. It does look pretty cool. I think it's a nice little pocket transporter as well. Like, it doesn't have to just be about exploration. It can be also do some reconnaissance. It is a good vessel. At the moment, like with a few of the ships, kind of like the Mantis on ground vehicles, the usability of certain vessels is kind of hampered because of the lack of gameplay options we have in this game. I mean, don't get me wrong, Star Citizen has a lot of gameplay options, but most of them are combat based and less about exploration. or about reconnaissance. So, at the moment, certain ships like the Terrapin or, well, the Mantis and other certain things, they don't quite fully have their versatility and use yet. But don't worry, we'll have that one day in the future, hopefully. Regardless, though, we must continue on. And now we go to my absolute joy of joys, a ship that I have fallen in love with, and oh boy do I love her, the Anvil Gladiator. Now, this is kind of like a Hornet with steroids attached. So this is a glorious vessel. We've got some size 2... wait, are these size 1s? Or size 2s? I'm thinking size 2s, but regardless, they blat like a motherfucker. This is considered a bomber. She has two gimbaled size 2s or 1s. I'm leaning more towards the 1 category. She's got quad-mounted missile systems, so she's got 2 of these size 2s and 2 of these size 3s. I'm terrible with this. That's going to be my curse now. You know what? We're just going to roll with it. It's size 2 or 3. That's Mr. Jaeger's official statement. Either way, they hurt. And you do go through a lot of missiles, which is pretty cool. Right. Now, you also have the option, if you hadn't noticed before, of having a gunner on the top, which is pretty nice. You get some 2 repeater ballistic... I want to say ballistic. No, not ballistics. I keep wanting to call them blasters, but I know they're repeaters, but regardless. So, there's another reason why I love this ship, which, once you've gone through the missiles, some of you may already know this, but for most of you, maybe who don't... also, she is an absolute beauty inside as well. Like, seriously, the MFDs are in a really good position because they're not pulling apart. They're actually all concentrated around the center. What I kind of call my, in my eye, is the 15 degree, the 15 degrees of love, which basically means all of the MFDs are within 15 degrees of your vision, which means it's extremely easy for you to see what's going on, what stats are going where. So, for example, when you turn this thing on, if it wants to work, obviously, because we're on the shop, because this is the floor model, it's unfortunately been sat on and fucked around with so many times, some of the displays aren't working. But you do get all of the information that you receive in all the information that you need to receive is on there, which, having flown this thing, is an absolute dream. Of course, there's another reason why I like this vessel. Oh, hello. Yes, those are size 5. I know this size because I've seen them before. These are size 5 torpedoes. Yeah! Yeah, we got a torpedo launcher. Aha! And it's cheap. It's like 152 quid. And I only had to upgrade from the, from the Gladiators. So I was like, 70 quid, thank you very much. Ha 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 ha. And isn't she an absolute dream? She handles extremely well. She flies, her guns are very, very effective. Like, it takes a few shots against a buccaneer and blap. It's gone. I was able even to kill... You know what? I hope I've got footage somewhere, but I will. If not, I will be making a certain thing with this. This is a goal project as well, because obviously I can upgrade her. And, for anyone who's wondering, yes, you can take the missile racks off, and I could basically replace the missile racks with the repeaters, if not slightly better or bigger focused ones, to basically blat and destroy bigger and more powerful vessels. And I was able to destroy... I was able to use this... during a bounty hunting mission, to kill that. And I did it with 1 torpedo. My IQ kind of goes down when you have big... The best way to describe my personality is the bigger the caliber, the lower my IQ. It's literally, when I saw the thing explode, I was just like... you could have shown me fire and I would have been like a caveman. Anyway... So, going on to this absolute beauty. Now, I don't know if I've made a video before. I'm fairly convinced I haven't. So, this is the definitive introduction to the Carrack. Yes, she's been out for a while. Yes, I imagine everyone knows about this vessel. But I don't care. I want to show her off because she's just so goddamn sexy. So this is the rover bay into the Carrack, and she has a lovely little ramp to raise up and stop vehicles from crushing you. Obviously, you can lower it down if you fancy playing Russian roulette with an Ursa. So there are multiple ways for you to get up to the top, which is going to be pretty cool. So this is the way that if you want to try the Snake Eater approach, it's a very long ladder which will get you up to, I believe, the 3rd floor. Yeah, it gets you up to the 3rd floor, so that's pretty cool. Then, of course, you have 2 elevators along... Yeah, there's 2 elevators, one here and one along there to the back of the ship. This is the docking collar, which eventually, when we do start, or once we do allow docking to be a thing, we'll be able to utilize this as an entranceway, which I think will be a pretty damn good thing. So going into here, we've got the cargo bays, which will eventually be allowed to become, eventually you'll be allowed to take it out, which is pretty cool. And apparently what you can do is store multiple ballistas in here. So it's all the joke that you can, yes, you can easily fit a ballista in here. So obviously in the future these things will be quite good transportations. Wonder if they could fit a Nova. That'll be a good test. Going into this area, you've got the aft turrets. Now the disadvantages of this vessel are a little bit, obviously they're known, but still they have mostly manned turrets for the defense, and unfortunately they're not a huge amount of damage. But they are still very nice. The ship also is utilizing the more modern elevator system. Oh my god, it's a pilot. So let's go up to habitation first of all. Live long and prosper. I then go up to the habitation deck. There we go. And the cool thing is, if you're in a party with people, people can actually see which deck you're going to, so they can complain. So going up to the habitation deck, you will have the opportunity to gaze into the medical bay, which in Star Citizen was the first ship in Star Citizen to feature a medical bay that had a functioning bed, which is pretty cool. Like this was the first ship, if I'm not mistaken, that was which allowed people to basically set an ICU and a preferred ICU as well. They did eventually, I think they incorporated this feature into the 890 jump, but at the same time, I think that was more of a post-implementation rather than an implementation alongside its release, which the Carrack was the first, which is quite nice. I also really like the aesthetics of this place. I love the glass, I love the reflective detail, I love the fact that Janitor hasn't been here recently. Again, it's a show floor material, so I'm assuming people have trudged around here with all their ugly, nasty boots that aren't clean. Unclean! Anyway, going through into the habitation deck, here is the door which does not open because it is secret. So that is important to never open the door, but that is secret. So this is obviously the crew habitation decks, the most important room in the entire ship, and well worth the price, because obviously you need to have... You obviously need to have that sort of thing going on in the background of a pool table, because pool table. Anyway, oh yeah, by the way, forgive the lighting. I think it's because of the location that we're at that causes this weird lighting glitch to go on. Normally, when you're walking around, this vessel doesn't have bright lights. No touch. Anyway, so obviously the habitation crew quarters, you've got the co-ed sort of style, which is nice. Co-ed? I assume it's the word co-ed. Obviously, la toilette as well. So you've got 2 sets of showers, which is pretty cool. Damn, that's a lot of money. Though something tells me that someone's getting paid. Generally, when you see that icon, for anyone who doesn't play Star Citizen, that is that I'm paying someone something, so don't interrupt it. And, of course, we've got the spatulas of ensure clear. Someone's being a bit rebellious, aren't they? But no, so this is the habitation quarters, and a very nice one that they are. We're going further into the vessel. We've got the captain's quarters, which is actually quite nice. It's a little flashy. Oh, even the fire extinguisher. The difference between a captain's quarters and a crew quarters. The fire extinguisher has an MFD as well. But no, the captain's quarters has a pretty good thing. Oh, there you go. There's the teddy bear of fear. Seriously, waking up to that in space. Ugh. He gets his own toilet and shower as well, which is ridiculous. He doesn't have the shit shower. He just has the shower and the toilet. A Star Citizen classic novel released in 2947. Sold triple the numbers. So, now we enter the bridge. Now, the interesting thing about the Star Citizen, the Carrack, is the design of this bridge. Now, originally when this ship was about to be released, CIG I think they redid the model, and some of the people who originally pledged for the ship were not too pleased. For me, I kind of like what they did with this thing. I mean, obviously, this vessel, I saw this vessel originally, and I was kind of like, okay, so it's a long, slender ship, and they made it a bit, they shortened it down and made it a bit wider or taller, or less tall, so you can actually have a ramp that doesn't stick out for ages. Like, I liked it. It was a cool-looking ship, but I was fairly indifferent to it. But now with this version, in my opinion, I kind of prefer this display. Though, I will say, as much as we can gawk and look in amazing awe as gamers, in real life, I would be so terrified of this display. Seriously, I'd be so convinced that the glass would crack and open and everyone gets sucked out in the vacuum. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just because I'm not a spacefaring person, but still, that would terrify me. But anyway, you can jump in the center, because obviously it's the center, and this will turn you around, obviously, and, it would have been nice if you could have been slightly further forwards, but it's not the end of the world. And obviously you can, activate the MFDs. Again, though, the issue is the MFDs are kind of spread out, which is a bit of a shame, really. I think as much as you want to have a great view, which, don't get me wrong, this is a great view, the MFDs are a little bit... You have to look up to look at the MFDs, or you have to look down to look at the MFDs. And for me, personally speaking, I've always found that to be not a big issue, but when it comes to you, if you're in combat, or if you're in a situation that requires you to constantly be maintaining your stats, I don't think it's a good idea to be in a position where you have to look at your stats in order to maintain it. Unless, of course, you're supposed to deal... Obviously, there are multi-crew dealings with this. And this is definitely a multi-crew ship. But at the same time, it is kind of a thing that, as a pilot, I kind of would prefer not to have to worry about looking around for the stats that I want to see. Lift. I said upper. You go upper. I have to double-click it. Okay. This makes sense. So now this is, of course, the upper bridge with all of the navigational aspects and everything. There's some people on... I believe these will be like the navigational charters and what have you. These are the robot gunners. Yes. There you go. There's some more of the gunners. There's the support seat. There's the navigational computer, which, depending on where you are, when you're in flight, this actually also acts as the radar. So you can actually zoom out and see where you are in the verse, which, in my opinion, is absolutely fantastic. And truth be told, if you could use this thing with a planet-wide, you could actually probably tell where the north and south is of a planet. One of these days, if Star Citizen ever cracks that nut, I think people's ability to navigate on certain planets will just become that much better. Anyway, there is, of course, the ultimate station, the command station. So, obviously, the captain of the ship may, in fact, wish to fly this vessel, well, command this vessel / fly this vessel via this array, because you have an absolutely fantastic view, like unparalleled view. Sadly, not thinking too much below, but everything else is just right there in front of you. And again, would be, in real life, terrified of this display if I was on this ship. But still, it is an incredible thing to see, regardless. So now we are on the technical deck, which means we get to see all the fancy pants stuff. So we get to see the... can't quite remember what this room is. It's not... Is it the drone room? Or is it the gunner's room? What does this chair allow me to do? It is the drone room. I was right. I was for a second I thought this wasn't the drone room, but no, I am right. So this vessel, at the moment, it's not a functioning capability, regretfully, but as you can see, these are known as the drone bays, and it can allow you to utilize drones whilst in the verse. And hopefully, when it comes to, that's cool. When eventually we have drone technology, and we can just use them to go through wormholes, we can utilize drones to do some reconnaissance to save the ship going or wasting potential lives. Here, of course, is the repair bay with all of its useful things. A full briefcase full of repairable material, full of Allen keys, wrenches, and all of that jazz. I've never seen one in real life, so I know this is fiction. Even fully charged batteries as well. Yeah, I know this is a science fiction. There's also, I'm going to be cocky and say, a 3D printer or a plasma cutter. Either way, it is absolutely incredible. This obviously is designed to repair all the components and other things, because don't forget, the Carrack is an exploration vehicle at heart. It's designed to be self-sufficient and able to deal with any issues that may come a cropper. Here, of course, is the famous landing bay, which the Carrack's little support aircraft can land into. And once again, if you're a fan of Lore of the West, he has made some pretty good videos regarding what you can fit into the landing bay, one of which is a Buccaneer. I'm liking this. Yeah, it is an absolute lovely tree. There's like a really good view as well, coming from the sides. Anyone have any idea what that is? I have no idea what that is. I seriously don't. I'd love to know, because I have literally no idea what that is. It almost looks like a size 1 weapon of sorts, or an end of a weapon or something, but yeah, I have no idea. Anyway, so there we go. So going further down the field, we are perusing our way towards the elevators. There, of course, are the rear points leading towards the port turret and the starboard turret. And here is the entrance to the engineering, which is very, very nice, as you can see. There's 2 floors of this engineering, both of which look pretty dope. And if you want to see what a component looks like, there it is. It's a big component, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's such a big... Oh, my God. But still... yes. Talking baby to engines? Yeah, that's what an engineer does, mate. That's how he fixes stuff, surely. Walks up to a component that's on fire. Who's not on fire? You are! That's right, you're not on fire. And it suddenly puts itself out. Like all the engineers of the channel are like, shut up! Don't let them know our secret! Anyway. So here is, of course, the fuel tank and components, in which eventually, when we can fix components, all the engineers can come in and talk baby to it in order for it to be fixed. I just realized I need the elevator. So, yes, absolutely fantastic details going into this, and really nice as well, because it does show a more practicable way to sort of look into your ship. Because with some ships, you get all the, all the fancy pants, like the class and the habitation decks or whatever. But of course, don't forget, this is a ship that is meant to be out in the verse quite far away. So, don't expect it to have, you're going to have to work with this ship in order to get it functioning to what your particular standards. So here's the rear engine, or here's the rear lift, which is slowly getting up to us. There we go. And finally, we're going to go to the Cartography Deck. Once again, a feature that is not available at this moment, but when it is, it looks set to be pretty damn good. And arguably, it may even be something that will that could potentially help us out in identifying the north, south, east, west poles, or the north and south poles of the planets. This looks awesome. I very much like this. Yeah, no, I love this. It's a very awesome looking room. I love the lighting. I love the setting. It looks fantastic. For some reason, though, the only thing that it reminds me of more is Mass Effect, when you speak to the Council, when they usually come over to berate you for not doing exactly how they want you to do it, or for you, having the balls to do a job that they don't want to do. You can probably figure out what I did with the Council when I got the chance. Wink, wink. So, finally, we have the ability to go into the airlock. And, as you can see, you can then go into EVA World, where you can jump into, or jump out of, the Carrack and space. And this turret is remotely operated, which is where you can access this from the bridge. So, there you guys go. Anvil Aerospace. A fantastic array of vessels, crafts, and arts, all with an absolute incredible attention to detail, designs, and very much enjoyable. And I'm seriously still having issues because I can potentially upgrade to this vessel, but it is not cheap. The pros of this vessel are, limitless. You've got almost limitless. You basically have the ability to have a large vessel for transporting things. Obviously, there's a bonus for that. Transporting cargo, again, the more practicable things. You also have a very, very big quantum drive. Like, I'm talking like, in order to get from here to our core, you could do that like, here to Odyssey, you could do that 20 times or 30 times without having to refuel. It is ridiculous. You also have the pretty impressive ability of being fairly quick outside of quantum. You can basically go, for a big ship, bearing in mind, you can push it to quite some ridiculously good speeds. Downsides, well, there's always some downside. She is relatively slow in quantum, which is not great. But again, you could change components if you're desperate. There are other issues. Yes, there are a bunch of features that are not quite available yet, because unfortunately they aren't implemented into the game. So there is a potential issue in of itself. Just wondered how the hell they got in these things, but oh well. And we return, and thus I say goodbye. So thank you very much for watching this episode, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. If you like this kind of stuff, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm hoping to try and reignite my passion for this game. I have to admit, it's been a bit of a taxing process. I took a bit of a break because pretty much 3.8 didn't seem to want to work. 3.9 worked fairly well. It was a lot better than 3.8 and like the end of 3.7. So yes, hopefully we should be able to do this. But don't forget, guys, you've still got multiple days left of this lovely little eventable. Not even words. I can't speak. It's way too warm. Anyway, I hope to catch you in the next episode, whereupon we'll be looking at Aegis. Yes, glorious Aegis with their glorious ships. And I will see you then. This is Mr. Jaeger signing out. Have a good one, guys.